What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Radiovania, episode number 63, otherwise known as the Holiday Special. And we gotta stop it there or else YouTube is gonna copyright us and we're not gonna make any money. Not like we make any money already.
What are you talking about? Hey! I make a ton of money from this show. And then I spend it all.
The whopping 15 cents that we've made on ad revenue.
What are we going to do with that 15 cents? I think we should invest it.
Bitcoin. Dump all your money into Radiovania coin, everybody. It's skyrocketing. Welcome to the show. This is the holiday episode. You know what it is.
You know what we do, what we're about.
Yeah, we're sitting next to a roaring fire in Cincinnati. John is here for the holidays. It's 5 days and...
Four.
4 days until Christmas.
It's Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve.
Eve to the 4th.
And we're here to talk about two new movies that we just saw and a little bit of the odds and ends in between. But thank you guys for checking the show out. My name is Zach Rotello, at Zach Rotello on all the social media. That over there is John Swansong Parker. And laying on the couch over there is Carly. She's had a few.
Don't want to introduce me.
We've also we've had a few as well. On the scale of 1 to drunk.
Let's just say we're in our holiday spirits.
Yeah, we're in holiday mode. John's double fisting 2 Yinglings. I've got one cooling in the fridge. So it's gonna get a little wacky up in this. We're leaving this in.
We have derailed.
No, it's good. We're 2 minutes into the show. Those holiday J-I-N-G bells. Those holiday R-A-D-I-O-V-A-N-I-A bells. Okay. But in all seriousness,
Excuse me.
what do you want to do first? Do you want to just talk about movies?
Let's talk about movies.
You just want to
or you want to talk about the holidays?
What about...
Let's talk about practice, man. Holidays.
talking about
favorite holiday song. Boom. Go.
Specifically Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
Or like any holiday?
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about
This time of year. Christmas on the radio, December.
I don't know. You brought up I don't know. I'm a huge fan of crooners. That's my kind of Christmas music. I don't like... I mean, All I Want for Christmas Is You is probably the best modern Christmas song. But if I'm
Shout out to Mariah Carey if you're listening.
Bless up Mariah Carey.
Yep.
But as far as like classic songs go, I love White Christmas.
Bing
Crosby's White Christmas is
Nice.
a classic one.
Nice. Not the Bieber one.
Please.
Child, please.
Please. Only legit crooners and none of this Michael Bublé shit.
Yeah, he's really taken off, and that's like some kids' Christmas music, right?
Yeah, I know. He's
Isn't
gonna be
that holiday album that came out like 5-6 years ago. Or
yeah.
something?
And then John Legend puts out a new holiday album like a whore puts it out on the street.
Oh wow.
Pimp.
Hashtag Keith from La La
Pimp.
Land.
I was gonna say pimp.
Pimp puts
Pimp
his
puts
whores
on the street.
Yeah, those holiday hers.
Ho ho ho.
Oh man.
What about you, John Parker?
Christmas song. Nat King Cole is a favorite.
It's a classic.
As well as the band escapes me, but the Rocking Around the Christmas Tree is a good song.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff that pops up in Home Alone I resonate with. That's probably my favorite Christmas movie.
Really?
Which ties into my next question after I asked Carly, what's your favorite Christmas song?
I hope this is picking up on the mic.
I said it has to be. What's your favorite song, Carly?
Rudolph.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
That's a good pick.
Favorite Christmas movie?
That's your favorite Christmas movie?
No.
Oh.
What is yours? Mine, I already said it, Home Alone. Or
Christmas,
Charlie Brown.
Christmas Vacation.
Ooh, that is a good one. Yeah, I like there's a couple good ones, and there's also some stinkers.
Oh, there's a lot of stinkers. Recently, Carly and I actually sat down and watched Krampus.
Oh,
Have you seen Krampus?
No.
It's good.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It came out in 2000.
Adam Scott, right?
Yeah, Adam Scott. It's got David Koechner. It's really, really good.
Okay.
I mean, it's like Gremlins.
Ooh, that's also a good Christmas movie.
It's like it's such a good holiday. It's holiday horror. It's like that and Nightmare Before Christmas. Those are the only two movies I can think of in that genre that work as well as it does.
Yeah,
but it's good. I recommend it. It's a fun little flick that's surprisingly heartwarming.
I'll have to check it out.
You can rent it for $2.99 on the Amazons.
What is more worthy of being considered a Christmas movie? Die Hard or Lethal Weapon?
Die Hard.
They both occur at Christmas time. Think about which integrates Christmas more.
I know. I mean, I don't. This is a topic that could be. We could spend all night discussing the whole. What's a Christmas movie and what's not a Christmas movie?
Fire just started, man. Let's go.
Fire did just start. We are also 6 minutes in and we haven't talked about anything but Christmas movies.
This is
the holiday
special.
Shh, shh.
You hear that? Those are the winds of change.
That is that supposed to make that sound?
It's fire.
Okay. Did we open the flue?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
I didn't know that's what that was called.
It's called Flu Powder and Harry Potter. Come on.
Thanks, Carly.
You're welcome.
Do you have an answer for this question?
What was the question again?
The Die Hard Lethal Weapon.
Oh,
you
I
asked
think
the question.
Yeah, sorry. I think Lethal Weapon is more of a Christmas movie.
Interesting.
Yeah, it has a Christmas song in the opening, and they integrate Christmas decor very frequently throughout the film.
Now, did Shane Black direct the first Lethal Weapon?
I think he wrote it, and Richard Donner directed it.
Okay.
The first two were written by Shane Black and directed.
Because isn't that a Shane Black thing? Is to make all of his movies Christmas themed, like Iron Man 3,
yep.
and
I don't know what his deal is. I mean,
Nice
did you see the new
Guys,
Predator movie? Is that a Christmas
Predators.
thing? Is it?
No, I think it does have something to do with Christmas.
What's that guy's deal? He
I
must
don't
have
know.
had some weird Christmases when he was younger.
He's got the case of the ho-ho-hos.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got to put it on film.
Yeah.
John,
Yes.
we saw 2 movies in 2 days.
We did.
One was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse,
Yes.
and the second was Aquaman.
Yes. We saw one during the day.
Yes.
With a very unpopulated theater, except
Yes.
for a baby here or there.
And a baby in the back, yes,
Yep.
that I
And
almost
then
strangled.
We just got back from Aquaman.
Yes,
To
we
a
just got back.
semi-populated, decently sized opening night crowd.
Not a bad opening night crowd for a suburb of Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about these 2 films.
Which one do you want to go with first?
I don't know. What do you think is the best way to tackle this?
I was going to say we flip a coin.
Honestly, there's
Or
a
we
lot
let
of
Carly decide.
There's a lot of. That's not a bad.
Carly, which one do we talk about first?
I'm going to talk about Spider-Man first.
Okay, I think that
Spider-Man
makes
it
sense.
is.
First, we saw it first.
Into the Spider-Verse we go.
Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. John, give me a little summary of Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse for those that don't know what it's about.
So this is a animated, if you want to even call it that, but it's the most unique form of animation I think I've seen in a long time. But it's an animated Spider-Man movie that delves into characters from Spider-Man comics that have not quite been given their time to shine on screen, while still tapping into the nostalgia of the stuff we know, like Peter Parker. So its main protagonist is Miles Morales, which is a character that people have been clamoring for to be on screen for years, since the Andrew Garfield stuff bombed out.
Yeah. I mean, Miles Morales has been that's been a fan favorite for literally
Since it came out,
forever.
and
Since I've known about Spider-Man, people have been saying, "Give us Miles Morales, give it," and it makes sense. It's like
Quite possibly Brian Michael Bendis' greatest achievement in comics was the reveal of someone as Spider-Man fighting some burglars, and he swings off at the end and then lands on top of a building. He's like panting, and then he takes the mask off, and it's an African-American kid. And everyone's like, who is this guy? Because Peter Parker had recently died in the Ultimate Universe. Spoilers for 10 years of comics. But he came back. It's fine. And then we're off with this new character, Miles.
Yeah.
Which has become a fan favorite to the point that they had to write a crossover event in the comics that merged the Ultimate and the regular universe together so that Miles could actually hang out with a living Peter Parker. And now he's a character that's got a weekly book. Or not weekly, monthly.
And Miles Morales has been a character recently featured in the Spider-Man for PS4.
Yeah.
Which we should also note is one of the highest selling games the entire year. One of the highest selling PlayStation exclusives, if not the highest selling. I can't remember if it's beating God of War or if it...
I hope not, but I do love it.
I think it beat God of War. I mean, let's
be honest. It's T. Kids can play it.
Yeah.
God of War.
It's very hard. Very hard to have.
Very, very mature. Makes sense. But,
so yeah, it's.
I like God of War significantly more.
I agree with that. But Miles Morales has a very major role in the Spider-Man game,
which I did not expect.
Cool. Yes, I didn't expect it either.
Yeah.
So it's the year of Miles. It's Miles Morales year,
which is interesting because it's also the year of Infinity War. With
lots of Spider-Man this year.
Yeah, with we had a lot of Spider-Man this year.
There's
and you know what the best part is? It's not overdone. It's still refreshing.
I thought what you were going to say is the best part is that it wasn't Venom.
Oh. We're using the V word?
Yeah. Venom's going to come up, I think, a fair bit in this discussion.
Okay.
So, general thoughts, John. What did you think of Spider-Man?
I thought it was really good. Very funny. Like I said, the animation's really cool. It rides this line of like animation and practicality that's sometimes hard to discern which is which. Great voice acting, good cameos from characters in the comics, and it was just a good, heartwarming story about basically what Stan Lee always wanted people to like about Spider-Man, which is that it doesn't matter who's under the mask, it just matters that someone's wearing the mask.
Yeah. I love this movie. I think it's my favorite animated movie that's not a Disney movie.
Like, in general?
Yes.
What are some other animated movies that aren't Disney movies that you like?
I thought about this because I knew you would ask me that.
Mm-hmm.
The Lego Movie is up there.
That's true. Different studio, right?
Different studio. That was a Warner Brothers film. Shrek, I guess, the original Shrek, even though I think it's overrated, that's still a great animated classic at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, this even rivals Disney movies to me. Like, I can't think of the last Pixar movie.
It definitely rivals some Disney movies for me, for sure.
Like, I like this more than Incredibles.
The first one?
The most recent one.
I haven't seen it.
I thought this movie was almost perfect. I mean, if I had to criticize anything about it, is maybe a little bit on the length of the film. I felt like it kind of got stretched out a little bit too long. I was like,
there was a lot of conversations about how he wasn't ready.
Sure, but I mean, like, a lot of those conversations I didn't have a problem with. It was like, I felt the natural end of the movie was when, and we'll get into spoilers here in a second, but I felt like the movie was coming to a really good ending, and they didn't need to have like a final boss battle, but they did anyway. I didn't think it was necessary, albeit it was very cool. But it was like it could have used a little bit of trimming, I think, here and there. But other than just like some minor tweaks with the length, I thought the writing was superb. I thought it was funny and heartfelt and like genuinely emotional. Mm-hmm. I felt more emotion for a cartoon pig dressed as Spider-Man than I have for like many other characters in modern film. And why? I think it's just Lord and Miller know how to write good characters.
Yeah.
And Avi Arad, the director, and the other directors of the project, like, knew how to make a movie that like really spoke to comic book fans, and not just comic book fans, but like fans of cinema. Because not only has Spider-Man been like a beloved comic book character, but we've also seen him in 3 separate iterations over the last 10 years. And so there's room to poke fun and to like kind of be inside baseball, like you talked about. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about the inside baseball in a bit, but I just thought this movie was so great.
It was one of my favorite movies of the year, for sure.
For sure.
Definitely a better Sony delivery than the other movie. But what would you give it on the 20-point scale?
On the Radiovania 20-point scale, I was stewing on it. I'm still stewing on it. We only just saw it yesterday. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to go a solid 9.
Okay.
Solid 9. I think that with time and a couple more viewings, this movie might be one of my favorite comic book movies ever. Superhero movies, anything. I mean, animated movies. I love this movie. I love it. It's great. It's funny and
good soundtrack.
Yeah, the soundtrack, the score, the sound editing too. Like all the glitchy sound effects and the production of the sounds, and it's so good. 100% recommendation. I say a solid 9, maybe a 9.5. I think it was just short of being a perfect movie for me. Like a perfect anyone can enjoy this. Like I fail to see an audience that won't enjoy it. Maybe the elderly won't enjoy this movie, but I think everything else besides the elderly, people are going to enjoy this movie.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. What about you?
I would give it a 10.
A 10.
I think the elderly can enjoy this movie. I think everyone can enjoy this movie. If anything, Into the Spider-Verse is for everybody. And that's the part that I like about it. It resonates on the philosophy that I like quite a bit, which is that every comic book can be somebody's first comic book. In the same way that if you were to go read an issue of Spider-Man right now, hopefully you get the same feeling that you can get by watching this movie, which we can drift into spoilers here pretty soon. But even if you don't know everything about Spider-Man, you have a bunch of new characters that get fleshed out to the point that you will get caught up very quickly. Yeah. I think it is, pretty much borderline flawless. I would give it a 10. I can't really think of any problems that I had with it.
Aside from like what I said, I do think that the length was an issue. There were some times where I felt like the length, it could have used a little bit of trimming. But even the stuff that was like elongated, it led for the more character moments, like the great character moments that really made the movie stick out. And we got to get into spoilers because we got to talk.
All right.
So before we get into spoilers, Carly wants to say a little something about how she thinks the Radiovania patented 20-point scale is in quote unquote dumb.
1 point does not equal a half of a point. You can't say something is 10 out of 20 and say that it's perfect. That means it's failing.
So maybe we need to think about renaming it. But I do think that the 20-point scale is accurate.
Just call it a 10-point scale with half steps.
That doesn't sound as nice off the tongue.
Don't call it that then.
What do you want us to call it?
Explain it as that.
I'd say we call it the patented Radiovania scale, just so we don't confuse anybody.
All right, so I'm going to give it a 10 or 20 if I'm doing by Carly's methods.
Saying, as an audience member, it sounded like you both gave it a failing score because you called it a 20-point scale and you both gave it 10 or less, which makes it sound like it failed for both of you.
All right, let's rewind a second. The 20-point scale, which is in half-point increments.
Yes.
That makes
0 being
sense.
the worst, and then half, 1, 1.5, 2, so on and so forth.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Thank you, John.
9.5, 10, same thing.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
We love this movie.
Yes,
it does not get a failing score.
No, it does not.
Stretch the imagination.
So let's jump into spoilers really quick. We're going to spoil the movie. If you don't want to have anything spoiled, say jump forward about 10 minutes. I think it's about fair.
On a 20-point scale, though, it's like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I guess, if you're following.
Yeah, if you know math, jump forward 20 minutes.
Hey, we don't know math. You're talking to a park ranger and a dude that works and folds t-shirts.
Preaching to the choir, babe.
Hey, cheers. Here we go.
Yep.
Okay, I'll keep track of time.
So the first thing I wanted to bring up was how fucking awesome the villains were in this movie. Mm-hmm. All of them. Like, from the reveal of... Vic, wasn't it? What's her name? What are they called? Olivia Octavius,
played by Catherine Hahn, one of my favorite comedians.
And what a
so
shock.
Funny.
Yeah, I was like, I recognized the voice when she was doing the videotape in the classroom, but I was like, what is this? What I wanted to ask you is, did the trailer spoil anything for you? Did you watch any of the trailers?
I saw, I think, the Comic-Con trailer. Mm-hmm. which didn't really give
Okay.
away anything.
Okay.
So like the only thing that was like really spoiled for me that I can think of was when he's like getting out of the car and he's like, "You gotta say I love you too, Miles." And he's like, "Dad, are you serious?" And he's like, "Say I love you." And he's like,
Okay.
"I love you." And he's like, "That's copy." Like that's the only like thing
Okay.
that was kind of spoiled that I wish.
So
I
none
had.
of like big character reveals or moments.
No.
Okay, because something I wish that I didn't know was the Gwen Stacy reveal, because
Oh, that was revealed.
that's in the
beforehand?
trailer. That she,
Really?
one of the trailer moments is like they're in the woods and someone shoots them down. They don't reveal it's Octavius, but like they're a thing, and then like Gwen Stacy webs down and she's like, the name's Gwen or whatever. And so when she showed up in the movie, I was like, oh, she's gonna be a Spider-Verse. I was like, she's gonna be from an alternate dimension. I know it. So that was like the one thing I was kind of like, because that would have been a really cool reveal to have.
Yeah,
like,
see, I mean,
that
I
you
didn't-
didn't know Spider-Woman.
I didn't know that was going to be in it.
Okay.
But I did know when she was like, "My name's Gwanda."
Yeah,
Gwanda.
well,
Yeah.
so I was like,
"Oh, okay, Gwen
Yeah.
Stacy, cool. What up?"
yeah,
So we're gonna get some Spider Gwen in this. But yeah,
Yeah.
the only one I knew that was gonna be there was Miles and Peter.
okay.
Because
So then,
I think like the Comic-Con thing was like him being like, "I'm Miles Morales. I'm from Brooklyn." He's like diving around and stuff, and
Yeah.
then it's him talking to what is actually Jake Johnson's Peter Parker in the diner about fries being the multiverse, which actually wasn't in the movie, but that was really funny. Do you remember that?
no,
He's like, imagine that all these fries are a different universe. This one right here, this soggy little flimsy fry, this is your world. He's like, but this beautiful crisp French fry, this is my world. And he's like, oh so good. And that wasn't in the movie, so that was interesting. Yeah.
Interesting.
Look it up.
yeah, I'll have to look that up for sure. But so oh man, the villains though. Villains. I want to talk about the villains because I really think that one of the things that this movie nailed was making the villains interesting. Not only did the main villain Kingpin, who do you agree? Do you think the main villain's Kingpin?
Yeah.
Octavius has more of like a violent presence, but Kingpin is like
Kingpin, if Kingpin is like Venom in Spider-Man 3, Octavius is like Sandman.
okay.
We want to use that analogy?
That's a fine analogy. I'll allow it.
I'll allow it.
But Kingpin has like, and I was asking you this in the car when we were driving home from the movie. I was saying like, is that an actual Kingpin character arc? Like in the movie, his family witnesses him like beating up Spider-Man almost to the point of death. That's what drives his family to leave him, his mom and his wife and his daughter and his son. His wife and his son.
Vanessa and Richard.
Yes, and then they get into a car accident and die, and that's like his motivation in this movie to try and bring them back through the tool of the multiverse. I thought that was just great.
Yeah, I think that was
Such a great...
If anything, that was an original story,
Yeah.
to my knowledge. From what I know, like a lot of the Bendis Kingpin work was with his Daredevil book, which if
Okay.
you haven't read that is also very good. But that delves a lot into his family with Vanessa and Richard.
Okay.
And the Kingpin even is killed off for a little bit, and Vanessa takes over the crime family.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But nothing like in the case of like Spider-Man being the arc of that.
Yeah, so like the thing that I like is Spider-Man and Wilson Fisk in the comics, for the most part, their relationship is just Spider-Man's just a menace to him. Like he just kind of disrupts his thing. Daredevil and the Kingpin are like the ones that go at it.
They're
They
really-
have these
okay.
deep-rooted, feelings against each other, and they've each caused each other harm in some form or fashion before. So it's cool that they added some emotional take with Spider-Man.
Yeah. But that's the thing is that like what I want to get at with this is that not like just the villains like so the villains in the movie there's Kingpin, there's Octavius, there's
Green Goblin.
and
the
there's the Prowler, and then there's also Tombstone, and then there's one more I'm forgetting.
Scorpion.
Scorpion's in there, yeah.
Who's like a legit scorpion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he looks like
He's like a Mexican scorpion.
He looks like the Rock and Scorpion King.
Oh, dude. Good pull.
Yeah.
That CGI is awful.
Oh, it's so bad. Editor, please cut in footage of The Rock as the Scorpion.
There he is.
There he is. But every villain kind of has like motivation, you know? It's
I would
weird.
say the Scorpion and Tombstone, not so much.
Not so much. They're more like lackeys.
henchmen.
They're more like lackeys, but they're still
even Green
like,
Goblin, not so much. Besides what you might know going into it, but the other three for sure, especially the Kingpin and the Prowler.
Yeah.
Octavius is just like obsessed with the research, like usual.
But even she gets like her.
Well, can we talk about for the fact that it's a she? First of all, which is
that's
really
awesome.
cool.
Yeah, I've never
different take.
That was another
Good
question
idea.
I asked John. Was have there ever been a female Octavius? He said,
To my knowledge, no.
Okay.
You gotta understand. If I had time to read every Spider-Man comic, I would, but I just don't. So, but as far as I know, I don't think so.
Well, I think that's a really smart move. I mean, like, that makes total sense that it would be, like, a very methodical, sort of, like, deep in her work sort of scientist that just becomes too obsessed. There's not
It's
really...
like the Octavius in the game.
The thing, though, is that, like, with the Octavius in the game and then with the Octavius in Spider-Man 2, there's, like, a crippling sort of, like, body defect that goes with it. Or with Otto and Spider-Man 2, it's more of, like, an accident. Mm-hmm. With this, she just kind of just is Octavius, so...
She just has a backpack on.
Yeah, she just has, like... She has these means...
The arms aren't attached to her in any way.
Sure. It's like she was prepared for supernatural fights in some way.
And also the arms were like this liquid goop, which was kind of cool.
Well, they weren't like goop, but they were like flimsy tubes that kind of like... They like... Whenever she was still, they were kind of like still moving. Which was... It was kind of unsettling,
Like
honestly.
liquid
Like,
or something. It's like an octopus.
yeah.
Yeah.
And something I want to bring up, like on that back, on the pack of that back, is
Nice.
What?
How we doing on time, boss?
we're good.
Great.
A lot of the imagery in this movie was very adult for a PG movie.
There's some creepy stuff. Yeah.
I mean, there's gunshots and like
Like a person getting shot with a
yeah,
gun.
exactly.
Yeah.
Kills by gun.
There's some stabbing, right?
Yeah. There's some like
Wilson Fisk like murders Peter Parker.
yeah, he like literally just pounds
He
people
gives
with his
the
fist.
Vincent D'Onofrio slam where they just have to shoot him from the ground so that he doesn't actually have to fight people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A character curses
Once.
I
I think you get one in PG that can't be bitch, fuck, or shit. I'm pretty sure. Double check me on that.
The MPAA is so fucking stupid. It's
PG-13
like-
gets
yeah.
everything besides the F word once. So
Yeah.
excuse me, I have to stoke this fire. Keep talking.
That's fine. But yeah, so the adult themes of the movie really were one of the things that drew me to it, because one of my fears going into it was that the movie had come out about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, and I've been telling Carly I really wanted to see it, but the problem is that I'm constantly scared because I love kids movies. Like, I love animated movies. I love Disney movies. You good?
Yeah.
Okay. But the problem is that I hate seeing them in the theater
With kids.
because kids are unpredictable. They don't respect what's happening on the screen. They're loud and talkative. We didn't have much of that.
They don't know any better.
We didn't have much of that in the theater. We had a baby.
There was a baby.
Which you can't really...
That baby, Carly mentioned it, was actually a very well-behaved baby as far as babies in
You
movies.
can't blame babies and children. It's the parents.
Yeah, it's blame the parents. The parents suck. Parents, keep your kids out of... keep your babies home. Babies, stay at home, babies.
But on the other
Parents-
hand, babies get in free
Babies
every day.
No. Take your babies somewhere else. Take your babies out of there. They don't need to be... They aren't going to remember any of this shit. Show your babies Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse when they're well enough, old enough to realize what's happening. That's all I got. Do you have any other strong thoughts about Spider-Man? Are there any?
We haven't even talked about the other Spider-Man.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. Yes.
We talked about villains for like
Yes.
10 minutes.
Yes,
So it's
yes,
actually,
yes.
if you're tuning back in, the 10 minutes is most likely expired.
Don't worry about it.
So please jump forward as deemed fit. Just kind of do like the 15-second jumps
Yeah.
until you stop hearing us
Yeah,
talk
exactly.
about it. Who is your favorite, we talked about this, favorite Spider-Man besides Miles? Who is our protagonist taking us through this journey?
So I really like the way that Jake Johnson played the role.
Yes.
He's a favorite of mine. I really enjoy Jake Johnson in New Girl. He's the best part of that show I like.
Do you like him in Jurassic World?
To be honest, I didn't. But I saw Jurassic World before I got into New Girl, so I didn't know who Jake Johnson really was. I remember finding him extremely annoying.
Isn't everyone annoying in that movie?
That's the thing, though.
Except the dinosaurs.
Yeah, Owen Thunderguns, and
BDH, baby.
yeah. I honestly think that I really liked the way that they took the Peter B. Parker character and kind of like twisted it a little bit, made it like the schlubby Spider-Man, things don't work out for him.
He's wearing sweatpants.
He's wearing sweatpants. He has a relationship that didn't go well. I like that aspect a lot. That the aspect of like the him and Mary Jane doesn't go well. He's alone by himself. Like that severed. I found that super interesting.
That happens a lot.
No,
but he never like lets himself go to the point that he like tacks on weight and reads the paper and drinks coffee instead of like fighting crime.
So that was so much.
That is the part that is unique to this movie that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
But Mary Jane and him have broken up / been divorced. Like you can count that on two hands probably.
Sure.
So that's the comic genre for you, though. They recycle stuff.
Yeah,
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But
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 if you're talking about specifically the weirder Spider-Man, I will say this, and I've said it in the car, and I will say it again. The Nicolas Cage as Noir Spider-Man is the best thing I've seen in a major motion picture in the last decade.
He's very funny.
I was in tears laughing at some of the things that this dude was saying.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage was perfect in this role.
Would you watch a Nicolas Cage Spider-Man Noir movie? And do you think they're going to spin out of this movie?
No.
For solo adventures?
No.
Or on the Disney streaming service? Oh, wait, they can't. It's Sony.
No, it's Sony. So you raise an interesting point, which is something I want to ask you about. Is I think this movie directly sets up a sequel to the Spider-Verse. But I unlike the Lego movie, where there were other very colorful characters that deserve a movie for their own, I felt like this movie was anchored by Miles. Everything that happened in the movie was anchored by Miles Morales. Whereas in the Lego movie, it was like this cast of characters that was interesting, and then you had some that could be explored further, like they did with Lego Batman. But that's also a character that's had so much limelight that you can do anything with it and still make it interesting. If they decided to do a spin-off Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse Noir Spider-Man movie, I'd be like, nope, I'm out. Because
no, you wouldn't. You would see that shit day one. Don't lie. We all would.
Okay, I would, but I'd be upset about it. I'd be very upset about it. See, the thing is that don't ruin a good thing. That's my thing.
Okay,
so don't ruin a good thing. Make a sequel that's a smart and intellectual follow-up to this movie that carries the emotional weight with Miles and the loss of his uncle.
Yeah.
And the bitter and the fight between him and his dad. And just go forward.
Yeah.
Don't make this this isn't a Lego movie. This isn't like a multi-character sort of thing. This is Spider-Man. The point isn't that we can spin this off. The point is that Miles Morales is a good enough character that you can do some weird shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's my 2 cents.
All right, so 2 things.
Okay.
Mine is either Jake Johnson, but if that's even too much of a cop-out because he's a main character, I would probably go with Spider-Gwen. I thought she was really cool.
She was really, really good.
Or what I found very interesting, and I'm curious to see if this ties into my second point. Time-traveling Spider-Man 2099 at the end of the credits.
As Oscar Isaac.
That was really funny.
Very
and I think
funny.
Oscar Isaac as Spider-Man sounds like a really cool movie to explore.
Yeah.
But is he a main character of a movie, or does he appear in a... This ties into a question, should this movie have a sequel? And if so, is it another Miles movie where you just expand the roster of Spider-Verse people? Or do you maybe focus on some other people?
So, I think this movie should have a sequel. However, as of right now, and we're recording this on Friday, December 21st, the domestic take of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is $45 million. The worldwide gross plus foreign, so that's domestic plus foreign, is $65 million. This movie's budget was around $90 million. double that sometimes for marketing. This movie is currently losing money, and now it's going up against Mary Poppins.
Yeah,
and
it didn't
Aquaman.
come out at the best time for them, which is a shame. And unfortunately, it also has come out at a time where there's 2 animated movies that just can't seem to go away.
Yeah,
weeks after they came out, and this is no harm against Wreck-It Ralph and Grinch, both 2 movies that I haven't seen. Apparently, they're fun. You know, they drag kids to the movies. Illumination just cleans house whenever they're around. But that's a good question. Do
you have a guess? Give me a guesstimate on what the worldwide take is of Dr. Seuss's The Grinch.
I would say it has got to be in the top 3 internationally. Worldwide take, like, up to this point.
Yeah, just give me a number for total gross. Total box office gross from The Grinch. Illumination's Grinch.
$650 million.
You're a little high.
Okay.
Worldwide is $378 million.
That's really high.
You're high, yeah. But still, opening weekend, it was number 1. It's still in a wide release. It's been in theaters for 41 days and is still crushing it. It's a holiday movie. It's an animated movie. It's a Grinch movie. It's a familiar property. Spider-Man is a familiar property, but Miles Morales is not necessarily a marketable name.
So now we need to ask the question is, would kids enjoy this movie as much as we do? Because I don't think they would.
I don't know. Like you said,
in the same way the
theater.
Lego movie was for, like, a lot of kids really love the Lego movie.
Well, like you said, when you left the theater, you were like, that movie was inside baseball. I agree. I think that the reason that movie is so good is that they kind of disregarded the play it safe method.
Right.
And I think by doing that, unfortunately, it's going to lose some money.
And I do think that kids could enjoy it. It's just, could they get them in the door? You know, versus something like The Grinch.
Not when there's so many other more...
Mary Poppins.
Yes, not when there's so many other more recognizable properties out right now. Even though Spider-Man is maybe one of the most profitable superheroes, he had an entire franchise by himself. Now he's one of the most favorite Avengers. He had an unbelievably huge profit with Homecoming. It's like... I think the biggest shame about this is that this movie might end up like losing money, and they might not do anything else with it. But to be honest, and it sounds sadistic to say it, I might be okay with that.
Just leave it as is,
because this movie is, like you said, this movie is almost perfect. I love this movie. I'm going to buy it day one. I want to watch it again as soon as I can because I really just loved it. I loved the theme. I loved what it represented. I loved what it said, what it had to say about people, and it's a risky movie. Mm-hmm. And you don't get that with animated movies. With movies that are aimed at a younger audience, I honestly felt like this movie was talking to me, and I'm 24. So, I loved this movie. With a passion. And I am so interested to see how this franchise shakes out, you know? Mm-hmm. Like in the next few years, what happens with this franchise. Like I'm curious to see the first news article about this. Like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse confirmed sequel or sequel for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse deemed unlikely or whatever the news articles are going to be. It's going to happen, and I'm curious to see how it shakes out.
It could get the Solo treatment, which is sad. To compare those two.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably could have had a plan, but depending on when it's released and what it goes up against, sometimes it just doesn't shake out that way, and business is business. So it's like a harsh world we live in, but we're still very fortunate as pop culture fans because, transition, another superhero movie came out this week.
Yes, and we will talk about it right now.
In a world where most superhero movies take place on land, there comes a movie that takes place almost 75% under the water. There are mermaids There are pirate ships. There's spaceships. They're giant sea monsters. There's a kraken. There's fish people. There's different colored fish people. there's like multiple syndicates of under the water people. There's Jason Momoa being himself at his finest, and a lot of cameos to be had in this year's Aquaman. How was that? How's that for a trailer?
That was a great introduction. I think the trailer...
I would like to let the audience know that after about 10 beers, I'm making the switch to gin, so I apologize.
Don't apologize. This only means good things.
Okay.
This only means good things. This means that you're going to be more clear. Your head's going to be more clear. You're going to be ready to rock and roll. You know what I mean?
Yep. To talk about Aquaman, The Rise of Black Mana, also The Rise of Orm, the Ocean Master.
Call me
the movie.
Ocean Master.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, so I started on Spider-Verse, so you get to go first on Aquaman, because I know you have probably some differing opinions.
Well, we'll see. I'm interested to see how both of us come down on this one. So Aquaman is the story of Arthur Curry. As a young boy, his mother, as he says multiple times in the movie, my father was a lighthouse keeper. My mother was a queen. So his mom is the queen of Atlantis, and his father is a lighthouse keeper that looks like Cheech Marin.
It's Jango Fett.
It looks like Cheech Marin. He looks like a stoner. But yeah, it is Jango Fett. Which we just watched Star Wars Attack of the Clones the other night. Vastly differences for performances there.
Yeah.
And his mother is taken from him when he is a kid, and he grows up learning half about the sea and half about the land, and eventually must take his place as the rightful ruler of Atlantis. I thought this movie was schizophrenic as fuck.
Please explain.
It was trying to do so many different things all at once. It was trying to be a comedy. It was trying to be a drama. It was trying to be a high-tech Avatar-like action movie. And it was also trying to be Indiana Jones. There's a lot of... It's like inspiration, the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Pulling from different Hollywood blockbusters and trying to make this product.
And horror.
Yes. The director of this movie is you
can do it.
Oh my God!
James Wan.
No, it's not. Is it James Wan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the guy that did The Conjuring,
yes, right? The Conjuring, both of them.
Yeah.
And he's like he's the Blumhouse boy. They love him over there.
Oh, Blumhouse.
Talk about that's like the Netflix of cinematic releases. They just make a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Truth or Dare.
They make
Sinister,
all the Paranormal Activity.
Yeah. They did The Quiet Place.
Insidious.
Wasn't Get Out a Blumhouse movie too?
Yes.
So
they have some winners, and then they definitely have some stinkers. But that's the thing is they just throw enough of them out there.
They just let them splat
against
the wall.
Unfortunately, well, Get Out did very well. I should.
Yeah.
It's hard to compare the numbers, but it cleaned house last year, and that was a Warner Brothers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, out of the horror genre we go. Back into the depths of the ocean.
Yes. So I liked Aquaman. I think it was... I didn't like it as much as Wonder Woman, but I didn't hate it as much as like Batman v Superman or Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
I think it was okay. I liked a lot of the action, but felt that a lot of the scenes tying the action together was largely forgettable. Very poorly written and cheesy. and I think that Black Manta was underused because he
Preaching to the choir, baby. Preaching to the choir. I was there for it, man. I was there.
Yeah,
he's going to be the villain for the sequel.
I hope. Well, if it gets a sequel,
it will.
We'll see.
It's making a shit ton of money.
We'll see. I think that Orm, is his name Orm?
Orm, the Ocean Master,
was maybe the worst villain I've seen in a major motion picture since I don't even know.
Since Bodhi in Venom?
Maybe since Bodhi in Venom.
It's like 2 months.
I was so at the like after Venom. Oh my god. After Aquaman and Black Manta and Mera fought in that little town in Italy and destroyed the lifestyle of those
poor
people there.
Yeah.
After that happened, I was like flatlined for the rest of the movie. I was looking at it like Clockwork Orange style. Like my eyelids were pulled open and my mouth. I was like, I did not care. I didn't care a lick. Like,
that's interesting because my favorite sequence was right after that.
What was your favorite sequence?
The trench was one of the coolest visuals I think I've seen in a long time. When they would have them like going down with like the flare. Spoiler. Yeah,
that shit was spoiled in the trailer though. So
it was?
Yeah, that was in the trailer. That was in every trailer for this movie. So I did not. I saw it coming. I didn't care. I was like, flatline for me.
Okay.
Which is that's interesting. You didn't have you never watched a trailer for the Aquaman?
I didn't think they had the
shot of them with the flare jumping down and all the swarm is like coming around them.
No, I'm not talking about that. Not the initial jump, but like when they're going down and there's like this weird sound effect where it's just very silent. And I thought it was really eerie and really cool looking.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I didn't.
It's clearly forgettable for you.
I didn't get you.
Yeah.
For specific instance.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I liked this movie. I liked it. I felt like it was way too long.
Yeah, it was very long.
It was way too long. Like, Spider-Verse needed a couple. Like, my biggest criticism was trimming. For this movie, you could have gotten rid of so much shit that was just unnecessary. And this movie would have been such a great, like, hour and 45-minute joint. But instead it was like close to 2.5 hours long. And there's scenes of like diplomacy and they're riding on seahorses and I got some prequel flashbacks. To be honest with you.
Yeah. Especially after watching Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, we just watched Attack of the Clones. So
yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Okay. So I do like this movie.
Yeah.
I also have many problems with it. But I think Aquaman, it embodies the goofiness very well, and it kind of serves the purpose of it's like, the reason why we're here is because this guy is really good at swimming and talking to fish, and he has some cool supporting characters and some awful supporting characters that have goofy names from the 50s, and we're just going to throw it all out at you. I will agree, it's overstuffed. It could have been trimmed down a lot. I hate the opening. Like, a lot. I did not like the opening. I thought the CGI on Jango Fett looked really bad, especially when he's like standing on the dock. This is kind of spoilery, I guess. Should we
spoilers?
Throw up the spoilers. I did not like that opening, like, at all. But then after that, the stuff on like the sub I thought was pretty cool. The thing with this movie is, much like you were saying, there's some bad lines written that might have also been delivered poorly. There's some very weird musical cuts with like with like splicing in like real, but some of them were okay. Others were like jarring, like bad.
Yeah, well,
but I did like the score. Well, I did like the score of the movie.
That's the thing, though, is that I liked the score after the first hour. The score on the first hour was mostly strings and orchestral stuff.
It was interesting. Yeah.
That was like when Aquaman would stand up in the boat after he would stand. He like that shot of Aquaman when he jumps in the boat and like kneels down, does a superhero landing, right?
Yeah.
And then turns around and it goes,
"Pleasure, come aboard."
and it makes it's like a triumphant orchestral sound, and then he beats a guy's head in with a metal door, and then gives a guy a concussion, and then kills a dude with a missile and lets him drown, right? Okay, but then the soundtrack after that first 30 minutes or that first hour is like kind of like interesting synthy stuff where it's like,
okay, so this is what I wanted to talk to you about.
It's like the composer of the movie got fired after the first 30 minutes.
This is what I was thinking. It reminded me so much in tone, structure, and like aesthetics of Tron Legacy.
Yeah, okay.
You see what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like bright colors with like, it's like the Stranger Things opening. Like they're like if you call it flying when you're under the water in a ship.
Sure.
I don't even know.
Swimming.
Sure, but yeah, interesting stuff.
Yeah,
I would also agree that we all know you can check back like the last 15 episodes. I was there for one reason and one reason only. And I got just a little soupçon of what I was hoping for. And it was a lot. I will give it that. They probably could have been better off if they focused on one villain instead of two. But I think the way they integrated him into the Ocean Master's plan actually went off pretty well. Like at the beginning of the movie, I was like, this is gonna be like Batman v Superman, where it's like two disentwined plots. But they were actually able, like, you find out that he's getting paid off to steal a sub to frame an attacking on the Atlanteans and stuff like that. I thought that kind of worked pretty well. I think they handled the origin of the character pretty well. Because a lot of people, listen, he's a bad villain. He's stupid. But the only thing he wants is to kill Aquaman. That's it. Because Aquaman let his dad die. And they sure as hell pounded that down. Because his dad was like, you gotta kill that son of a bitch. And he's like, okay, daddy.
That's the thing. Okay, so PSA. To the writer of this film, write better dialogue, please.
Yeah.
Thanks.
There
was literally the father of this. It's a father-son
pirating gang.
It's a father-son pirating ring.
Isn't it awesome? It's so cool.
And the last words is, "You gotta live so you can kill that son of a bitch," and then he drowns, right? Or he blows.
He says
himself
some
up.
more stuff after that.
Well, yeah. but like
that's the big delivery.
That's literally the line is, "You have to live so you can kill that son of a bitch." Isn't that what he says?
Yeah.
And my eyes rolled back in my head so fast, and I was like, but the thing is that the actor that played Black Manta, played it well.
Yeah, he went for it.
He went for it. He dove directly into it, and I really, really liked it, and I liked the motivation. And he should have been just the main villain. I know that they're trying to set up the whole
Atlantis thing
and make Arthur Curry the king of Atlantis and make him like rise up to be this level of importance. Maybe because they're trying to set something up for the next DCEU movie where he's like the king of the civilization. But just a small 2-hour movie where he's fighting Black Manta would have been so much more interesting to me.
So here's what I'm thinking. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Full thing. We like the movie well enough. We have problems with it, but hey, it was fun.
It's fine.
I had a good time.
I can't see a scenario where I'd want to like watch this at home.
Oh, I'm gonna buy this shit and I'm gonna watch those 20 minutes that I really like a lot. But anyway, let me pitch you this movie. Okay?
Sure, hit me.
Raiders of the Lost Ark in the water.
Okay.
Indiana Jones is Aquaman and Mara, and like that storyline. And you get Black Manta as like Belloc. So they're both looking for the same thing, the trident. That's the whole first movie. He gets the trident at the end, kicks Black Manta's ass, doesn't kill him, kicks his ass, and then the sequel is about the Ocean Master and going home.
Yeah, I
instead of shoving it all into one.
Yes, I like that structure. That was the thing I was like, that scene we'll talk about the music. We'll talk about the music in a second. Because not only did I have a problem with the score in general, but the music in general.
And they picked the wrong Africa cover, bro.
They picked a cover by Pitbull.
and Weezer.
Go
right?
fuck yourself movie. When that song, that version of Africa came on, when they were in the Sahara Desert, right? I was like, fuck you. Go kill yourself, movie. I was so agitated. I was so angry at the movie.
Hey, Carly, is that pizza still in the oven? Cool, thanks. Sorry.
But yeah, so...
Don't want to fire.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about how cool Black Manta was.
Yeah, he was cool.
So let's talk... Okay.
What was interesting about Black Manta is that they gave him such an elaborate death scene. They literally... They show a POV camera of him hitting rocks and like falling all the way down.
I actually thought he was gonna die. I was really sad.
When he hit that final rock and like
smashed himself.
I looked over at you and I was like Chris Pratt in Parks and Rec. I was like,
yeah. I was kind of like, don't do this to me.
I knew that. But that's such a DC thing to do right now. Like movie thing.
It really is.
It's
they killed Jimmy Olsen in the BVS in like the first 10 minutes. Yeah.
Take the most interesting character and just fucking kill him.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
So I want to talk about a couple more good things, and then we can kind of wrap this up.
Okay.
Because I think we've gotten most of our bad stuff out, and there's a lot of it. Don't get me wrong. But I was pleasantly surprised by a couple of performances. I wanted to see how you feel about this.
Okay.
Willem Dafoe as Volko.
I like Willem.
Did you like it?
I like Willem Dafoe in general.
Mm-hmm.
The problem was that I felt like his character just had like zero motivation. I didn't. There was a scene. I went to the bathroom at one point. So please feel free to fill in a gap. But I feel like there should have been a scene.
You missed a big scene actually between those characters. Yeah.
Okay, so I was picturing there should have been a scene where Arthur Curry is like rejecting humans, the surface dwellers, and he goes to sulk by the ocean, and that's when Willem Dafoe's character comes out of the ocean and says, "Arthur, you are not just part of them; you're part of something else."
Yeah. So I will tell you, they don't ever have a scene where they introduce themselves to each other. They just kind of start hanging out.
It just happens
because he mentions that he started hanging out. The point is that he's just like he's allied to the throne as long as it's the right heir. So he's always been more aligned with Arthur than Orm.
Sure,
because he's loyal to his mom, stuff like that. He's kind of like, I mean, this could be a thin comparison, but he's like Forrest Whitaker's character in Black Panther.
Okay.
That's kind of he's just like the vizier, consigliere kind of role to the king, but has like allegiances, stuff like that.
Okay.
Okay, next one. Dolph Lundgren with quite possibly the performance of the year. What do you think? I didn't think that Drago could pull something off like that. I was actually surprised.
He was the red-haired Samara's father, right?
Mm-hmm. He was really good.
He was fine.
He was really good.
That's the thing, though.
Compared to other Dolph Lundgrens.
So you might hit me with some flack on this. I felt a lot of Thor comparisons.
Like the first Thor?
Yeah, Kenneth Branagh's Thor.
I felt a lot of that too.
It's a very Shakespearean tale.
It's definitely like, Shakespearean.
Thou hast betrayed me, and
the
thou
ocean
shalt sit on my throne, and I will be the ocean. It was like
it's like Hamlet, but like a very thin Hamlet.
It's very theatrical.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, yes, he played that role fine for what they were going for. To me, though, that's the thing is that like with the rest of this, the best stuff. I'm going to say this right out the gate. The best stuff in Aquaman, the stuff that I liked the most was the opening sequence.
On the sub?
No. The opening
with his dad and
with
his mom.
The dad and the mom when she kicks the shit out of the people in there.
Okay,
I was like, I kind of like this. I like the way the action is shot.
Yeah, the action was shot really well.
I liked the mundane aspects of it. I liked. It wasn't necessarily. It was a different take. You know how. So you would assume that with an Aquaman movie, there'd be a lot of fish out of water humor. Get it?
But they did that in Wonder Woman already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Da-da-da. They
I
did
get
that.
it, yeah.
But they didn't. They did a weird variation of fish out of water humor where it was like Aquaman is a fish out of water, but he's the cool fish. he's like
I love this.
Yeah,
Put it on the poster.
He's like the fish that people want to hang out with. And there's that scene where like the fishermen they're like,
you want to get a selfie?
yeah, they want to get a selfie. And I was like, this is actually kind of fun. I was like, I like that Aquaman is a surface dweller that's kind of fun and different. But then they jump back underwater, and every time he's underwater, he's like this. He's got to be pious and da 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 da. And he doesn't say very many funny one-liners unless he's with Mara. So it was kind of like, I almost feel like Suicide Squad felt like that movie went through a weed whacker in editing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this movie went through a weed whacker that was like slightly more modern. Like the weed whacker was a 2018 model, and it was like pretty precise in cutting the weeds.
I'm really lost. I'm sorry.
I do think
you don't like the writing.
No, I feel like the Aquaman. I feel like some of the original plot or the intention of the writer was maybe lost in the shuffle. I think this movie has a lot of filler that maybe wasn't the original director's intention. I don't know. But that's the sense I got, was that a lot of this movie was kind of fragmented. Because all the action sequences felt so cohesive, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, not the Trident fights, but like the fights where it was like, I love the B movie, like it was almost like B movie costumes, like all the guys in like those crazy metal outfits, like
they're in aquariums.
Yeah, it was so cool. It was like something from Invasion of the Body Snatchers or something. It was like some weird 70s sci-fi.
It was like a very TV series
kind
of thing. Yeah.
I
Both
loved
with
it.
the adventure side and the sci-fi side.
I loved it. I loved that aesthetic. But then it clashed with all this crazy, out of this world sci-fi stuff where it was like they had sharks fighting seahorses and laser beams going off. It was like, I think this story would have worked much better as a more simple scaled back story. But that's my 2 cents.
Okay.
I still like the movie.
Yeah.
Where would you give it at the patented Radiovania 20-point scale?
I would give it, let's see. So like, can we retroactively rank the other DC movies first to kind of level it out? Because
God.
We were really high on BVS on our 20-point scale after we saw
were
it.
high?
We were 6.5 on that. And I don't think that is a 6.5. Do you remember this?
I have to go back and rewatch our episode.
Yeah, we both wanted to give it a better chance. I would give this movie a 7. Because I would drop the other ratings that we gave a little bit more once the dust is kind of settled.
Sure.
Maybe even a 6.5. But I really like the plus side enough that this is actually a movie that I will buy and watch again, because as a comic fan, and especially a DC comic fan, which I read quite a bit of, I really liked Jeff Johns' run on Aquaman, and a lot of that stuff was in this movie. So I was really excited just to see things on the screen that I had read on a page, which might be where we differ on some things, because like the final fight between Orm and Arthur is like straight out of the War for the Throne book, which is just so cool. So it was really cool to see that. It was really cool to see the trench. That was one of my favorite comic stories ever. It was terrifying. And who better to handle that kind of stuff than a good horror director? I almost could have watched a whole movie about that, even though like they don't speak or anything like that, but like as a menace, they're really cool. The Black Manta stuff was dope. Some of the world building was cool, some of it wasn't, but it was enough for me to give this movie some more chances, and I really do enjoy it. So yeah, I would probably rank it as a 7, retroactively dropping some of the others. Because I think I
Yeah.
had Wonder Woman at like a 7.5 or like an 8 or something.
I think Wonder Woman's a better movie.
Oh, for sure. I agree.
I think, but the ending of Wonder Woman just sucks balls.
Which ending do you like better?
Probably Wonder Woman, because at least there's the emotional connection between her and Chris Pine.
Oh, so good.
Yeah. But the thing is that like the ending of this movie, by the end of this movie, I was like, please just be done. I wanted to go home.
It was kind of exhausting.
I wanted to go home. I wanted to be done. I wanted to have a beer.
And I don't want to poke the bear too much, but I'm curious to see what you might think about this. Towards the end of it, I was kind of getting the same kind of vibes that I got in the Battle of the Five Armies, where it felt like we had already had so many action sequences that it was just like more of the same.
Yeah, no.
And I was just kind of like...
I totally get that.
And that's where the trimming could come in. You know what I mean?
Yes. It's
Whereas like a lot of disposable CGI armies running into each other, and it was like we ran out of character building and we were trying to focus on visuals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. The problem is that the movie is only interesting when you care about what's happening. And I didn't care towards the end. Like I really cared when they're on the beach in the sunken place and they see his mother and they hug, and I was like, oh, that's really, really cool. I'm glad that she's alive. But then everything else, I was just like, I didn't care at all.
I liked, my favorite stuff was honestly the Indiana Jones stuff. I think I could have watched an adventure serial a la Uncharted with those two characters.
I'm going to agree with you. I think Jason Momoa played a great Nathan Drake. I think. So
okay, let me talk about this for a second.
Okay.
There's a scene where he's looking through a bottle to line up something. Yeah, I thought it was going to be a joke, and he's going to be like, wow, and he's going to give her the bottle, and it's just going to be the inside of a bottle.
Like, yeah,
and he's going to be like, gotcha. But he didn't. No, it was kind of cool.
It was an Uncharted puzzle.
Right, it was something I hadn't seen before. It's kind of cool how he put it into the Romulus statue and stuff. I was into that part of it.
Can we talk about how every conversation in this movie was interrupted by an explosion?
Yeah, that was
literally every
rough.
Conversation. It was like,
all the heartfelt moments.
You're going to be the one to rule, and then the action sequence. Here we go. Mm-hmm. It honestly got to the point of like comical.
It was almost like they were like, you know what killed us in BVS? The fact that they talked for an hour and a half before Batman and Superman fought. You know what we should do? Motherfuckers be attacking all the time. Let's get this going. Yeah, there's some editing stuff that I think we can all agree on, but yeah, overall. It was enjoyable. I was glad I got to see it with the two of you. I thought it was a fun time. There were some people in our theater that clearly loved it. There was people applauding at the end, which I don't applaud for a lot of movies, so it did not get my applause. But there are some that have, and I was glad that people at least enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, this is not a dumpster fire. This isn't,
and we've seen some dumpster fires.
We've seen dumpster. This isn't.
I've seen a dumpster
Squad.
On fire before.
This isn't Suicide Squad.
It's not Venom.
This is better than Venom. This is better than This is better than Batman v Superman. I'd say.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
The problem is that I just don't. I think that in general, DC as a studio, like Warner Brothers and DC, is just a little bit misguided. I think there's maybe a little bit too many cooks in the kitchen.
I think they're still kind of cutting fat off of everything. Yeah. You know what I mean? From the old regime. We'll see what happens.
A lot of people on the internet are calling out the three highest voted Reddit comments right now are, my favorite part of the movie was the octopus drummer in the Ring of Fire. Worth seeing just because there's a scene with an octopus covered in war paint playing the hype drum beats. Those are two of the top comments. How'd you feel about that? The war octopus and with the drums.
I kind of forgot about that until just now. Can you add a comment that's like worth seeing because Black Manta blows up a town with his face?
Apparently, what we said, James Wan is the director. Mm-hmm. There's an Annabelle doll at the bottom of Atlantis in one shot.
That's creepy. Can you imagine if they merged those movies together? Mira, this fucking doll. All right, so let's end on this. Let's end on a positive note.
Yeah.
Favorite scene?
About Atlantis.
About Atlantis, yeah. About Aquaman.
About Aquaman.
What was your favorite scene?
The best scene, I think, was the choreographed fight scene in Italy was the best.
Okay.
It was great action. It was clear and you could tell what was happening.
It was also outside in the sun, which we don't see in DC very
yes,
much, right?
It was clear and in daylight, and I could know what was happening. I know you want to end this on a happy note, but I also want to end it on a negative note for me.
Okay.
Can we talk really, really quick? I don't know if you noticed this. Maybe it was just me. But the very first scene in the movie where we're introduced to Aquaman, and it's in the sub, there's like, he drops in, right? He superhero lands. He beats a couple guys up. But then there's some steam, and he turns around, and the shot looks like it was shot on a GoPro.
I don't quite remember.
If anybody's out there listening, comment. I know I saw this. It's like the camera quality dipped instantly when he was in the steam, and it looked like it was shot in a GoPro because he does this. He goes... and he starts walking, and that's the end of the shot. It's like... But it's like they didn't have the money to reshoot that scene, that particular close-up of Momoa, so they just left it in the movie. I thought that was super weird. But yes, action sequence in Italy with Black Manta, best part of the movie.
Okay.
You.
Mine is kind of that 10-minute stretch of them exploring the caverns under the Sahara, which ties into that, kind of. But that's a little bit of a stretch. So I would also agree with you. That is my favorite sequence as well. The fight choreography is really cool. And the fact, I'm sorry, but I'm pounding it into the fans. The fact that the Black Manta suit was an actual practical suit was very impressive to me.
It was a dude in a costume, and that looked great.
And it was really cool.
It looked great.
The fact that he was able to fight, and it was a really cool fight with some unique things in it.
Yeah.
Was really cool. There's a sequence where he shoots Arthur in the back with a Samus stun cable, and he's zapping him and stuff like that. You remember that? It's like a harpoon. It was just some cool shit. Yeah, so that would probably be one of my favorites. Joke answer: the montage of him building the Black Manta suit with that with that weird ass music.
Yeah, that's
great. It was like a broke ass Iron Man. He's like gets some goop on his hands. He's like, what the fuck? And he's just welding stuff together. And then he has, but what I liked about that is he has the Super Friends Black Manta helmet, and it blows up, and he's like, I'm gonna need a bigger helmet. And I was like, you get that helmet, Black Manta, let's go. I'm here.
And then the next scene is him getting shot and falling on rocks.
Hey, it's cool. He's coming back. He's ready. Remember, he's looking for that guy. So that was Aquaman.
Refresh my memory.
I will say one positive before we move on. Sorry. They didn't really kill any of the characters off.
Yeah,
which is a good thing.
Everybody lives. Everybody lives. I was thinking that they'd kill off his dad at some point.
No, they don't kill his dad.
I figured
he's
that
a lighthouse keeper. It's a
yeah, but that would be a good motivational tool for.
That's like a sequel thing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
They killed my father. Prepare to die. My name is Arthur Curry. You kill my... I bet you Black Manta will kill his dad in the next movie. Then it's like an eye for an eye kind of fight. Anyway,
how'd you feel about Mara?
I like Mara a lot. I actually liked her. I liked her more than Aquaman. I could have watched the movie.
Amber Heard makes some Jimmy's Russell. She is.
Her power is also really
gorgeous.
Her powers are
cool.
Yeah,
her powers are very cool. It's very Jedi-like.
Yeah, I think she had some really. Of all the crazy line deliveries, I think she did a really much of a better job.
Yeah.
She had some good funny moments.
She's very down to earth.
The chemistry between the two of them was really good. But yeah, she was cool, which is important because those two characters are pretty much entwined at this point. You can't really find an Aquaman comic that she's not in. So.
Yeah.
So this is a good thing that they casted those two very well.
So
any closing remarks? I think we just about summed everything up.
I think we did everything for Aquaman. One more thing.
Yes.
Why the fuck do we need a title card for every location?
Oh yeah.
Can we not?
That was funny.
I kept
somewhere in the North
every day.
Ocean.
Yeah,
somewhere in the Indian Ocean.
The first time it happened, it was like somewhere in the North Atlantic Ocean. And I looked at John. I was like, "Why does this fucking matter? Why do I care?"
I think they wanted to show you how expansive the ocean is.
I guess, yeah, that makes sense as to why that would be. But then it was like,
some of it was important to me.
Well,
because they were name dropping tribes of Atlantis like a lot because there's 7 kingdoms, and then they'd be like Kingdom of the Deserters, Kingdom of the fucking Earth's Core, all that kind of shit.
Those were the two.
Yeah,
those were the two.
There was more than that.
No, it was no.
There was Kingdom of the Brine, there was Kingdom of the Fishermen, there was Kingdom of the fucking blah 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 blah. You know, all the trench.
The trench was obvious. They used that subtitle way too often in situations.
It was a good font, though, right, Carly?
It's okay.
Oh.
It was okay.
It was okay.
Yeah.
But yes, I found that incredibly distracting. I hate it when movies do that. I hate it. That's my least favorite. That's my biggest criticism about Civil War, which is one of my favorite Marvel movies. One of my favorite movies. I love Civil War. Huh?
They do it in Infinity War.
They do, but they use it really cleverly. Like
just for the space.
Just the space. That's perfect. It's perfect. It's comedy. Yeah. It's perfect.
They do that in Marvel a lot.
But they do. But they've eased up on it since Winter Soldier. But in
if anything, they've done it more.
I don't think so. No.
Civil War, Infinity War, Ragnarok. Right?
Infinity War only. They didn't use
Ragnarok.
Infinity War only does it once, and that's the space.
No, they can't do it without having other things, like New York and stuff like that, because it doesn't work that way. Right?
They only do the space one.
I don't think so.
I bet you any money.
I mean, you've seen it more than I have. You might be right, but I'm pretty sure that. I mean, it doesn't make sense to just have an out of context thing that just says space,
because
they say like New York, and then they say like all this other stuff.
I promise.
This thing's catching fire.
Hell yeah. That's just a side point.
But yeah, good point.
I do think that
you can't let us end on a positive note.
No.
You have to talk about something positive before we move on.
Okay. Well,
you did this.
We got 2 news articles.
No, you have to say one nice thing about Aquaman.
About Aquaman?
Yeah.
It wasn't Batman v Superman.
There we go. Next.
2 news articles here. I'll start with the more boring one that we don't have anything to comment on. Director Todd Phillips announces filming has wrapped on DC's Joker.
Alright, let me see the trailer.
Ditto.
Next.
First official picture of the cast of Aladdin.
Okay, I didn't think we were going to talk about this in this one. I'm not ready.
We're talking about it. Just real quick. This is the end of the episode stinger. It's the holidays. Happy holidays. And Disney's ruining your childhood. Happy holidays.
We said that about a couple other things, though, and they turned out to be okay. There's not enough gin, though, to make me comprehend how this looks.
This looks like ass. Someone on Reddit made a great comment, and I don't know who to credit, but they said, they're like, this looks like a porn parody of Aladdin. And I agree.
You ain't never had a friend, never had a friend, you ain't never had a friend. What did Will Smith say? You were talking about this. You said that he responded.
Yes, so there was a backlash.
He's gonna be blue.
After this poster got shown, or this Entertainment Weekly cover got shown, they released it officially, and there was a huge backlash apparently on Twitter and social media. People asking Will Smith, like, why isn't the genie blue? Why isn't the genie blue? What are you doing? You're ruining this character. And Will Smith had to personally go onto social media and say, the genie will be blue.
once in the movie.
Which just makes me chuckle.
I don't think it's going to be the whole time. But we'll see. Listen. This is my favorite Disney movie ever. I'm very worried. But I think once we see a trailer where people actually talk as opposed to the teaser we got, which the teaser was cool for the most part. We talked about that in the last episode. That'll be a little more telling.
I think so too.
I still don't think... Listen, Robin Williams as the genie is a once-in-a-millennia character.
Yes.
I don't think you can recast that. As much as I like Will Smith as a comedian, as a movie star, he's got a couple stinkers under his belt, but so did Robin Williams at the time of the genie.
Sure.
That is a character that, I mean, you can even have this conversation about Indiana Jones and Han Solo. That is a character that is so much tied to the performer that it's really difficult to come up with another version of it. Thoughts?
I agree.
It's like if they were in like 10 years going to recast Iron Man. And Iron Man has been on screen more times than the Genie. So that just speaks how much that performance has been ingrained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that, I mean, you know my opinion on this stuff. We talked about it on the last
There's
episode.
also more stuff from this that we haven't talked about. Have you seen Sexy Jafar? People are like going nuts over that shit.
I saw. But you know my opinion on, like, we talked on the last episode about Aladdin and we talked about The Lion King, and there's certain movies that I feel that are untouchable. You shouldn't fuck with them because they are perfect and there's no reason to go back. Like, you should probably go back and fix Suicide Squad.
But this is Disney.
But you probably shouldn't go back and try to fix The Lion King.
They're not trying to fix it. They're trying to do a retelling of a retelling.
Why?
To make money.
Just
That's what it is.
Just re-release the original.
It doesn't make enough. They did that with Lion King. Remember, they released it in 3D. Didn't make enough money.
Okay, so 3D sucks, though. Re-release it as a major motion picture. Like, show trailers, put it in all theater Cineplex. I guarantee you they'd get my money. I go see that shit on a 2D screen.
Just it doesn't get people out like it used to. It really doesn't.
I guess.
I mean, like Beauty and the Beast made a shit ton of money. And it's not better than the cartoon. But it wasn't a disappointment.
No.
You want to know why? No.
Yeah, I'm pessimistic when it comes to these Disney live action remakes because I really don't feel like there's any reason to do them other than the quick cash grab. And they're not, like, even though Beauty and the Beast was a profitable movie, it wasn't.
That's an understatement, dude. It was in the theaters for like 4 months.
Yeah, but did you check out the like worldwide gross?
It made a lot of money.
It came up less than any Transformers movie.
That's different.
I
People
know
in
that's
China
different.
love the Transformers.
I know that's different, but
people
it's
in
like
China could give two shits about Beauty.
But it's like Disney has all the money in the world, and they decide to cash in on remakes of their most popular franchises.
But let's think about this for a second, if I may. 2017, last year. Beauty and the Beast was one of like 10 top 5 box office grossing movies, like when they came out, of the franchise, like of the studio of Disney. Beauty and the Beast, one live action remake, but you also had Spider-Man Homecoming, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Thor Ragnarok, Star Wars The Last Jedi, all the Pixar movies. Like, they had 10 of the highest grossing movies. Like, they clean sweeped pretty much everything, except for Wonder Woman. So, like, one of the things is a remake. That's like, they're covering all niches. You know what I mean? They have original stuff with Pixar, which was Coco, by the way, which made a lot of money. And then, it just took me a while to remember. And then they just like, oh yeah, we'll also remake one movie just to throw it out there, make a little extra cash on the side. Cover the theme parks overhead. It's gross.
Yeah, it's just
that
like,
mouse is
like,
sleeping on a mattress of hundreds.
Ho
Oh, there's a love in my mattress.
Rhea is next on my list. Ho ho.
Dude, would you accept the buyout from Disney?
Depends on much to buy it is.
$1 million.
Yes.
$500,000.
Maybe.
That should have been a yes. We will never make that much money in our
Maybe.
lifetime.
If the Radiovania IP is worth $500,000, maybe we can get double. So
I'm
yeah.
out of gin. You know what that means?
Oh, the fire's burning out, John.
We have things to do. So if you like the show, you can follow him on Zach Riccello on all social medias. Email the show at Radiovania. Gmail.com.
So delightful.
Radiovania.com will take you to our
No
YouTube
place
page.
to go.
Hit that
Let
subscribe.
us know, let us know, let us
If
know.
you want Carly on the show more
Off the
often,
curry is some other
send a dozen IPAs before every recording.
And Carly is drunk,
And
so drunk.
happy holidays to everyone
She
who
won't
listens.
even remember.
Please subscribe. Give a subscription to your families for
Give a
Christmas.
subscription to your family.
We want to make Radiovania merch, but we have no cash, so you have
We
to.
don't have any fun.
You have to be able to supply that to us.
We were all poor as shit. We bought
Merry
$2.99
Christmas to
Red
all.
Hook from the Jungle Gym.
And to all a good night.